Cavemen, 300,000 years ago. The rocks, they just banged together over a dry tree stump. Is this little Uzi? What happened here? I feel like it is possible that seeing fire for the first time completely crashed a caveman's brain. Like their OS had to restart after seeing this. If you've never seen fire before, how can you even fathom this? Hilter telling his troops in 1942 that they'll be in America by 1945. His troops in 1945 in Florida as prisoners of war. I mean, where's the lie? He told you you'd be in America. I had no idea we kept them in Florida though. Florida housed about 10,000 German prisoners, representing only 4% of the about 400,000 German POWs in the US. I didn't even know we took German POWs. We did put them to work on meals, farming harvests of wheat, and just about any other place we might have needed them with minimal security. It seems like actually most of them were in the South, specifically like Arkansas and Oklahoma. A ton of them were in Nebraska though, and then randomly this part of New York. We just couldn't resist that free labor again. Oh, they were actually paid American military wages. What? Bears in 1943 fights for Poland, smash axes, smokes cigs, drink booze, wrestles for fun. Versus bears now, neutral, eats fishes, eats berries, scared of humans, sleeps a lot. This species has really fallen off. They used to literally fight in wars. Now the only thing bears know born after 1992 is eat, sleep, and go extinct. That was horrible. I hope bears are not actually going extinct, even though I don't like them. Bears, not extinct. Well, thank you, Google. This is Karl Marx, but not as you know him. He's tall, dashing, blue-eyed, and the lead character of a new Chinese propaganda anime series. Yo, what is happening? Romantic Karl Marx anime targets new generation of Chinese communists. Every day, we get closer and closer to just straight up anime propaganda. I know it started off as a joke at first, but I am pretty sure this is what WW3 is gonna look like. After finding out Charlemagne and Byzantine Empress Irene were thinking of marrying, this would have united the Roman Empire once more. We truly were on the verge of greatness. We were so close. Charlemagne's empire stretched from modern-day France to a lot of Germany and northern Italy. Meanwhile, at that very same time, Byzantium, or Eastern Rome, had about this much stuff. It pretty much would have been a united Roman Empire again. They just needed Iberia, which I'm sure they could have pushed out the Umayyad. All they needed to do is start that Reconquista. No one expects that. Today I learned a troop of 15 monkeys escaped a primate research center in Japan by using trees as catapults over a 5-meter high electric fence. Afterwards, they were lured back with peanuts. Monkey brain, if we pull back this tree, we can use it to preserve momentum to hurl ourselves over this dangerous fence. Also monkey brain, he who peanut. To be fair, I mean, this is kind of still humans to this day. We can come up with insane designs and constructions and theories, but we still love peanuts. Knights versus samurai is the dumbest debate ever, yo. He didn't actually say yo, I just wanted to add it for him. What? What period, what armor, what weapons, what area? A 16th century artillery samurai would obliterate a 9th century knight, and in the same regard, a 16th century knight would destroy a Genpei war period samurai. Be sure I butchered that pronunciation. Actually, fair enough. We should just shut the hell up about that, says Walter. Walter. Butcher. No, I'm not gonna finish that. Put your vape away, Walter. Gotta love kid's name Finger. Okay, why am I talking about this? This is a very good point. It gets really complicated. Let's ask the real questions. Who'd win between a samurai and a dinosaur? Caesar in Anatolia. I came, I saw, I conquered in Latin. Caesar in Egypt. I'm not going to keep translating it, but you can probably make it out. He did love himself some Cleopatra. The British, after receiving news that an island so far away from them is being occupied by a country that is closer to it. What the actual frick is this? Is this a Falklands and Argentina reference, or just a critique of British colonialism as a whole? Probably the latter. I actually had no idea this is still somewhat of a debate between other countries in the world. Okay, let's leave us. Sorry, but the human sacrifices will stop. I love the Wojak Aztec people that are angry about this. I don't know why I'm laughing at this. It's just funny. Man, conquistadors ruin all the fun. Modern Tennessee stonework versus pre-Columbian Incan stonework. Again, older civilizations just showing us how it's done. Not only is the stonework we do bad, but also the way we make roads. Although the Roman roads didn't have 18-wheelers driving on them. Girls with the time machine. I'm your daughter. Really? Boys with the time machine. General Gamlin, you need to press on your forces into Germany. They're not prepared. Also, the Ardennes offensive is the real deal, not the diversion. You can easily win the war this way. Otherwise, the British and Americans will never shut the freak up about it. Fortunately, this man will not respond with mercy. France is now doomed forever to be the surrender place. Imagine World War II just ends after like 6 months. France just like single-handedly obliterates Hitler. My favorite. The Brits looking down at it, knowing exactly who they're gonna give it to. And I'm gonna be honest, Qing China, you probably don't want to try it. Don't be polite. Just say no. Time traveler, who are you and what country is this? My name is Napoleon and you are in the French Empire. Time traveler, but which Napoleon and which empire? Huh? Yeah, because if it was that first guy, he's gonna be a little confused. Especially with the line, which empire? He could have thought that maybe he was successful and maybe he had like a grandson also named Napoleon, but the phrase which empire implies that his empire doesn't last. Islamic ring in Viking grave sheds new light on ancient ties. Wait, what could that have been doing there? How it really worked. That merchant told me it would give me protection. Okay, whatever, I'll go ahead and wear it. It does sound like a cool story. Like, of course I'm gonna wear this. Since it was found in a Viking grave though, I guess it didn't work. Are you asleep? Trying to. How far do you think you would have gotten as a soldier on D-Day? I am absolutely confident I would have lasted 0.2 seconds. And if by some miracle I did manage to get to the beach with one of these spiky things on it, I am just not gonna move. I'm gonna stay by that spiky thing and wait for everyone else to tell me the coast is clear. The Soviet Union giving foreign aid to help build a bridge. Wow, how honorable. In Vulcan, West Virginia. Wait a second. I remember hearing about this story once. The Soviet Union offered to build one of our states a bridge because both the state and federal government weren't willing to do it. But then once they found out what country was willing to help, West Virginia was like, okay, hold on. I guess we'll do it. Reminds me also of the time the USSR was like, can we join NATO? And the USA was like, no. How many times was the USSR just left on red throughout history? USA just never replied back. Fighting Korean War, escape with MiG-15 to the south. MiG, I think 15, so sorry. Get rewarded with $100,000 by the American engineers, yet you didn't know there was a reward. Work as an engineer at Boeing, Lockheed, and GM. Refused to elaborate further. He's also still alive to this day. He fought for the North, by the way, during the Korean War. That makes this a little bit more interesting. But then took a plane and left like 2 months later. Here he is meeting Richard Nixon. So many cool stories about this that we're probably missing out about. Serve in the Finnish army against the Communist Soviet Union, lose. Serve the No-No Germans against the Communist Soviet Union, lose again. Serve in the US Army against the Communist North Vietnam, helicopter malfunction happens and it crashes, get finished, still lose again. You're telling me this guy got 0 dubs at all? This is like when your homie tells you late at night, we have to end on a win so you can't go to sleep, and you stay up all night and just keep taking L's. Man, these are some crazy allegiances this guy had. The Japanese attacks Pearl Harbor. The Canadians less than an hour later, they was ready to go. They were so excited for it. Our buddies to the north always got our back. Soviet 80s, according to Stranger Things. Meanwhile, the actual Soviet 80s, with just the most banger music. This image will be cemented in meme history forever. Not meme history, just internet glory as a whole. I've been listening to this song for like 4 years now when it popped in my recommendations at like 50,000 views. One day, for Halloween, I'm definitely gonna be this guy in the back. To be fair though, even in the 80s, there were probably parts of the Soviet Union that still look like this. May I introduce you to a little place called Siberia? Yugoslavia stands. It is impossible for a country to control a region as diverse as the Balkans. Meanwhile, India. Yeah, I think a lot of people in the West forget just how diverse India actually is. I don't know how they've managed to do it. German paratrooper, finally after months of training, my first landing is in the island of Crete. The locals will surely welcome us superiors as liberators from Britain. Meanwhile, Grandpa's 100-year-old flintlock rifle. Yeah, it's going to perform its task, which is what it was meant to do. I love how they just randomly put this animation of how this thing worked. No other context is really needed. When did the Roman Empire collapse? A, 1943. Okay, no, we are not going to say Mussolini had a Roman Empire. We're not doing that. 1806, is that France, or when the Western Roman Empire fell, or the Eastern Roman Empire fell? I thought we all agreed that it was D, but I don't know. I guess it's debatable. Oh, 1806 is because of the Holy Roman Empire, I see. Other kings to their people, I am your king now, you have to obey me in everything, and you cannot go against me. Meanwhile, this man, if I do well, then help me, and if I act wrongly, then correct me. Wow, dude was ahead of his time. I don't know if they were ready for that just yet. Hilter in the post-credit scene of a World War I movie. I'm here to talk to you about the Axis Initiative. Can't wait for WWE Marvel Universe to drop. People gonna flip during this post-credit scene. Americans joking about having their own personal FBI agent. Meanwhile, East Germans who did actually have their own Stasi agent. Ministry for State Security. They see the secret police in the German Democratic Republic, East Germany. I love this first image on Google. There are many disguises. Seriously like a chameleon out here. France dissolving the Holy Roman Empire. Then there's France coming to the realization they created Germany. Seemed like a good idea at first until you realize what happens next. Germany was is going to be quite the problem for France. Nice argument. Unfortunately, Stalin types an actual counter-argument. Mao, I disagree. You're both wrong, plus ratio, says Lenin. Castro out of nowhere with just, I fricked your mom. Tito, I'm inside your walls. KYS, I don't know who this guy is. Ho Chi Minh with your mom again. The original best Korean leader just doxing everybody. Blocked. And then Karl Marx with the ultimate, don't care, plus didn't ask, plus touch grass. Yeah, this is kind of how it went for very famous communist revolutionaries. Chaos in the chat. Where was Trotsky at? Something about a pickaxe, I think. Italians launching a surprise attack on Ethiopians. They had no idea they were waking up before dawn for morning prayer. This meme is so good because the look on the Italians' face are just like, we're not prepared. Didn't know the Ethiopians had this sort of force power. The USSR is gone! Stop increasing your military budget. You know what? I'm gonna start increasing my budget even harder. And this has pretty much been the US's strategy all along. Didn't matter if the USSR was gone. Are ya inventing monotheism, son? Why is this so funny to me? Just opens the door, it's like, who thought of this? So you guys would rather learn and enjoy history together than argue with each other about who's better? Meanwhile, all culture, nationalities, languages coming together just to say yes. So much better this way. I'm glad we think the same. And big thanks to my patrons. aPhatNarwhal. Presented by Robert My wife hates this Sebi, part. If you hear this, I love you. Drew's Argentinian Grandpa. $20 is a wild Bringbackpolandball. Chris373. DannyThyGamer. GoodOldRyah. Istoledrewspetdog. Phresh Animations. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Why am I doing this? The Mexicans and ZaneyBoi.